John Candy. Where do you even start with a guy like that? John Candy was more than just a comedian, he was a phenomenon. His presence on screen was magnetic, drawing audiences in with his larger-than-life personality and impeccable comedic timing. He was a force of nature, a comedic supernova. From his unforgettable roles in Uncle Buck to Planes, Trains and Automobiles, John had a way of making every character he played feel real, relatable and incredibly funny. But before the bright lights of Hollywood beckoned, John was just a kid from Newmarket, Ontario. A small town with big dreams. Newmarket was the perfect backdrop for a young boy with a wild imagination, a regular Canadian boy with a heart of gold and a laugh that could shake the rafters. He was the kind of kid who could light up a room just by walking into it. John loved to make people laugh, even from a young age. Whether it was performing skits for his family or telling jokes to his friends, he had a natural talent for comedy. He'd do anything for a chuckle, a giggle, a guffaw. His antics were legendary in his neighborhood, and he quickly became known as the funny kid on the block. He wasn't afraid to be the center of attention, to let loose and be silly. It was this fearless approach to comedy that would later define his career. That's where the magic started. Right there in the heart of Ontario, in the rolling hills and quiet streets, a comedic legend was born. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his hand. His family was modest, and they instilled in him the values of hard work and perseverance. He had to work hard for everything he achieved. From his early days in local theater to his big break in Hollywood, John never took anything for granted. But through it all, that infectious laugh and twinkle in his eye never faded. It was this genuine joy and passion for life that endeared him to so many. He carried that Canadian spirit with him, that down-to-earth charm that made everyone feel like they knew him. Whether on screen or off, John was always approachable and kind. He was one of us, just a regular guy who happened to be extraordinarily funny. He never let fame get to his head. He never forgot where he came from. Newmarket was always home, and he made sure to give back to the community that shaped him. And that's something truly special about John Candy. Despite all his success, he remained humble and grounded. He never let the fame change who he was at his core. He stayed true to himself and to the values he learned growing up in Newmarket. He was always John, the funny kid from Newmarket who just wanted to make the world laugh. And in doing so, he left an indelible mark on the hearts of millions. Like any good comedian, John's journey wasn't all sunshine and belly laughs. It was a path filled with both triumphs and tribulations, a roller coaster of emotions and experiences that shaped him into the beloved figure we know today. He had his share of struggles, his fair share of setbacks. There were moments of doubt, times when the future seemed uncertain and the road ahead looked daunting. He dipped his toes into the world of acting in high school, but it wasn't an instant success story. Those early performances were rough around the edges, but they were crucial learning experiences. He tried his hand at a few different things before finding his true calling. From odd jobs to various roles, each step was a piece of the puzzle that would eventually form his career. He even enrolled in college, but acting kept calling his name. The allure of the stage was too strong to resist, and he found himself drawn back to it time and again. He couldn't escape the allure of the stage, the thrill of making people laugh. It was a feeling like no other, a rush that he couldn't find anywhere else. He started out small, like we all do. Those early gigs were humble beginnings, but they were the foundation of something much greater. Local theater productions, small gigs here and there. Each performance was a stepping stone, a chance to hone his skills and grow as an artist. He was honing his craft, learning the ropes, paying his dues. Every line rehearsed, every role played was a lesson in the art of comedy. He never gave up on his dream, even when the going got tough. The challenges only fueled his determination to succeed, and believe me, there were times when it was tough. The rejections, the criticisms, they were all part of the journey. Rejection is part of the game, especially in the cutthroat world of show business. But John persevered. He took each setback in stride and kept pushing forward. He had that fire in his belly, that unwavering belief in himself. It was this inner drive that kept him going, even when the odds were against him. And slowly but surely, he started to make a name for himself. His persistence paid off, and the world began to take notice of his incredible talent. Then came Second City. Second City. This iconic institution wasn't just a theater, It was a breeding ground for some of the greatest comedic talents the world has ever seen. The legendary comedy troupe that launched the careers of so many comedic giants. It was a place where raw talent met opportunity and where the magic of improvisational comedy was born. It was here that John truly blossomed, surrounded by other talented and hungry performers. The camaraderie and competition pushed him to new heights, honing his skills and sharpening his wit. The energy was electric, the creativity was off the charts. Every rehearsal was a whirlwind of ideas, laughter, and the occasional friendly argument. It was a crucible of creativity. They were pushing boundaries, breaking new ground, and John was right there in the thick of it. He thrived on the challenge, constantly pushing himself to be better, funnier, more innovative. He thrived in that collaborative environment, bouncing ideas off of his fellow performers, sharpening his comedic timing to a razor's edge. And then came SCTV. Oh boy, SCTV. This was the big leagues. That's when the world really took notice of John Candy. SCTV was a groundbreaking sketch comedy show that became a cult classic, a breeding ground for hilarious characters and side-splitting sketches. This groundbreaking sketch comedy show became a cult classic, a breeding ground for hilarious characters and side-splitting sketches. Audiences couldn't get enough of it, and neither could John. John's characters were larger than life, unforgettable creations that left audiences in stitches. Each performance was a masterclass in comedy, showcasing his incredible range and versatility. He had an uncanny ability to disappear into a role, to fully embody these eccentric personalities. Whether he was playing a lovable goofball or a zany madman, John made each character his own. From the polka-loving Josh Schmenger to the over-the-top horror host Dr. Tongue, John created a gallery of characters that have stood the test of time. His legacy in comedy is undeniable, and his influence can still be seen in comedians today. With SCTV under his belt, Hollywood came calling. And boy did John answer. He brought his unique brand of humor to the big screen, starring in a string of classic comedies that still have us rolling on the floor laughing. Who could forget the iconic Those Aren't Pillows, seen in, or his portrayal of the lovable oaf Uncle Buck? And let's not forget his turn as the down-on-his-luck coach in. But here's the thing about John's comedy. It wasn't just about the laughs. Sure, he could make you laugh until your sides hurt. But there was always a sweetness to his performances, a vulnerability that made his characters so relatable. He had this incredible ability to find the humanity in even the most outrageous situations. His characters were flawed, they were messy, they were human, and that's what made them so endearing. John had a gift, pure and simple. He could make you laugh until you cried, but he could also touch your heart in a way that few comedians could. He understood that humor and pathos go hand in hand, that the best comedy often comes from a place of truth. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, to show his characters' flaws and insecurities. In fact, he embraced them, because he knew that's what made them real, that's what made them relatable. He taught us that it's okay to laugh at ourselves, that it's okay to be a little bit messy sometimes. He reminded us that life is short and we should embrace every moment with joy and laughter. He was a master of physical comedy, but he could also deliver a punchline with the best of them. He was a true comedic chameleon, able to adapt to any role, any situation. Section 6. Candy's Comedic Children. John's influence on comedy is immeasurable. He inspired a generation of comedians, showing them that it's possible to be both hilarious and heartfelt. He proved that you don't have to sacrifice your integrity to make people laugh. Just look at the comedians who cite him as an influence. John C. Reilly, Bill Hader, Seth Rogen, the list goes on and on. They all saw something special in John Candy, something they aspired to. He showed them that it's okay to be silly, to be goofy, to let your freak flag fly. He taught them that the best comedy comes from a place of truth, from a place of vulnerability. And most importantly, he showed them that it's okay to be yourself. Because when you're true to yourself, that's when the magic happens. Section 7. Keeping the laughter alive. Even though John left us far too soon, his legacy lives on. Thanks to the magic of streaming services and retrospectives, new generations are discovering his comedic genius. They're falling in love with his characters, his timing, his infectious laugh. His films have become timeless classics, enjoyed by families across generations. His work continues to bring joy and laughter to people all over the world, and that's the beauty of it all. John Candy's humor was timeless, universal. It transcended generations, cultures, and languages. He had a way of connecting with people on a human level, of making us feel seen and understood, and that's a legacy worth celebrating. Section 8. Forever, our Candyman. John Candy was more than just a comedian. He was a national treasure, a comedic icon, a true original. He taught us the importance of laughter, the power of joy, and the beauty of being unapologetically ourselves. He left an indelible mark on the world of comedy, and his influence continues to be felt today. He was a true comedic genius, and we were lucky to have him, even for a little while. So the next time you need a good laugh, put on a John Candy movie. Remember his infectious laugh, his larger-than-life characters, and his ability to find humor in even the most mundane situations. He may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten, because John Candy, my friend, was one of a kind. Section 9. A final word from a friend. John, you were more than just a comedic partner to me. You were a brother, a confidant, a true friend. I miss your laugh, your warmth, your ability to light up a room. The world feels a little less bright without you in it. But I take comfort in knowing that your legacy lives on, that your humor continues to bring joy to millions around the world. You were a force of nature, John, and I'll never forget you. Rest in peace, my friend.